talked to a CPA, a guy that works in tax strategies and builds trusts and helps people save money on taxes. And he told me he works with a lot of billionaires and every single one of them went to zero, almost to zero. And they've all made it back, sometimes more than once. And that put things in perspective for me. And I thought to myself, man, it must come down to be just not accepting defeat, not accepting permanence.
Welcome back to Super Entrepreneurs Podcast. I'm your host, Shahid Durrani. Today's guest is someone who took life's setbacks and used them as rocket fuel. Mike C-Roc Ciorrocco is the founder of the brand What Are You Made Of? Co-founder of the innovative tech platform Blueprinted, best-selling author of Rocket Fuel, and a highly sought-after performance coach and public speaker. I would like to welcome C-Roc to Super Entrepreneurs Podcast. How are you, my friend?
What's up, brother? Hey, great to be here. Thanks for having me. That's an old bio, by the way. So folks, just so you know, Blueprinted is out. It was a failed tech platform. I don't hide from my failures. But look, I learned a lot in that experiment, and now we're on to new things over the last 4 years, which is that one brand, that one agency, and that one podcast. And so I just want to clarify that.
Perfect. Thank you. Can you share one lesson you learned from that startup?
Yeah, 100% is that the biggest thing I learned from it is, number one, the amount of effort it takes to achieve a goal is way bigger and takes longer, requires more money, more time, more resources, more people than you anticipate. Everyone on the planet underestimates the amount of effort it takes to achieve a goal.
Yes. Good point. Good point. So I really like how you say turn your setbacks, use it as rocket fuel. Can you go deeper in this with us? Can you explain or share with us that moment where you realize that the setbacks are actually like fuel, like rocket fuel?
Yeah. First of all, I came from a lot of brokenness. I don't remember my parents ever together, right? And then there was a lot of conflict, drug addicts, alcohol, custody battles, child support battles. You had step parents and in the mix, step siblings, half brothers and sisters. Certain family members come into the mix and they don't like the other family members, and mental abuse and verbal abuse and all kinds of stuff that I watched growing up, suicide, you name it. And all the things that I went through as a kid, I don't know why. I do know now, but I didn't know why. I was just excelling out of everything. I kept excelling out of it. And I think I hit somewhere about, probably it took me till I was about 40. And I started to realize, wait a minute, there's something going on here. I got to identify this. And I did some self-work on myself. And I started realizing, wait a minute, there's something going on here. I'm taking things and I have a choice of what to do with it. When something happens to me, I experience something.
Yeah.
I can either store it in my trunk or my tank, and my fuel tank. And I started thinking about what most people are doing is storing them in their trunk, and it slows them down and weighs them down and maybe even stops them. That's why some people end their life early. And I was thinking to myself, I haven't been doing that. That's why I've been excelling. I've been putting things in my tank and I've been converting it into fuel, whether it's a lesson learned, experience, wisdom, motivation, whatever it is. I was storing it in the tank and I was converting it into fuel, and I would up level and I would keep up level. Now, I don't like going through tough times and adversity, but I read the Bible a lot. And in the New Testament, there's a book called James. And in the first chapter of James, it talks about you should experience joy in adversity, because that's when you're getting forged. That's when you're getting training. That's when you're becoming who you're going to be. And so I started thinking as I got older, and I wrote a book called Rocket Fuel, Convert Setbacks, Become Unstoppable. And Grant Cardone resonated with the idea of that. And he wrote the foreword for the book and explained how rocket fuel, he used it in his life. But the thing is about this is that I started doing this thing when I hit 40. Once I realized this, I said, when I'm going through tough times, now I don't like the feeling. Okay. By the way, you don't get better and not feel bad. There's not a time where you're getting better and it feels good. Okay. But I started to realize, wait a minute, what if I got excited when things got tough? What if I got excited when somebody turned me down and I got rejected or I had a setback? What if there was a way I got excited because I know that I'm not quitting? And if I keep going, something amazing is going to happen. And so I started thinking that way, and it changed my life, man.
What we go through in life, they're lessons. And we're just used to hearing as children and growing up that, avoid problems. But if we go into the reasoning of those experiences and why we're facing them, some more than others, there's always some kind of lesson. And for me, anything that was at the moment felt like life was over, it was really bad, was actually a next step to my next phase where I needed to go. So when I zoom out, when I look at all the dots in the past, they all got together because those situations that I dealt with, that I went through, had to happen for me to come to where I am today. They were beautiful lessons.
Yeah. It could be anything, right? It could be, I remember dating a girl and I got my heart broken. Right. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh man, I remember getting ready to go golfing with my buddies in college. And I just broken up with my girlfriend, or she broke up with me, and I was miserable and I was just down in the dumps. And there's a feeling of permanence when you go through difficulties. It feels, oh, this is the way it's going to be the rest of the way. It's over. I'm not going to have those fun times I had. I'm not going to be able to get with somebody again. All these this permanence feeling, right? I remember in business when I had to shut a business down, I felt, oh man, I'm not going to be able to go to those restaurants I used to like and go to those trips I used to like. And man, I'm going to have to figure out, maybe sell my house and downsize. And there's a sense of permanence that comes in. But one thing I learned, okay, is that it's not permanent unless you quit. If you keep going, now, the breakup, for example, I wouldn't have the beautiful wife I've been married to for 23 years now and the beautiful family that I have if that breakup didn't happen. And so I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I do know it's going to be better. And another thing with the business, I could have just downsized my house, shrunk everything, changed my lifestyle.
Survival.
This is the way it's going to be. And a mentor told me one time, do not ever change your lifestyle because you have an adversity in business or financially. Because what you're going to do is you're settling. And then you're going to be into this mode now where you're not going to create and produce like you used to because you're going to settle. The last business thing that I went through where I had to change, which I can share that story, I'll go deeper, but I did not change my lifestyle. Temporarily, I did what I had to do to get by. But I wasn't going to change my lifestyle because that's not how I'm built. And matter of fact, I talked to a CPA, a guy that works in tax strategies and builds trusts and helps people save money on taxes. And he told me he works with a lot of billionaires and every single one of them went to zero, almost to zero. And they've all made it back, sometimes more than once. And that put things in perspective for me. And I thought to myself, man, it must come down to be just not accepting defeat, not accepting permanence. And that changed everything for me.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. You just have that belief eventually everything is going to be okay. And if we settle, we're basically letting the subconscious starts believing that, okay, I have to downsize everything. Okay, this is my life. I'm going to survive. But if you amplify that and you learn from it and you still keep going, there's something that we're part of that kind of helps us, guides us in that.
Yeah. And then the other thing is, like, a lot of times the business side of things, it might have been a $1,000 problem, $10,000 problem, $100,000, even $1 million problem. But why is that a problem when I'm not shooting for that? I'm not shooting for $10,000. I'm not shooting for $1 million. I'm shooting for $1 billion. I'm shooting for big numbers. Why would I like this is only a blip. Yeah. So I want bigger problems. So when I go through things, I'm looking, okay, where can I get bigger problems than this? Let's add into this because I want to be built. I want to be like a machine that's like just an unstoppable machine. And here's another scenario. Back in 2019 in January, I had my stepfather. He became my father when I was about 11. And in January, cold night in 2019, my wife woke me up in the middle of the night. And she said she got a text from my mom. And it said, my stepfather's name was George. He was a good guy, man. He was a very passionate hunter, fisherman, loved baseball. Like, he'd be sitting on a couch at somebody's party or something. And if somebody brought up a topic that he was passionate about, baseball, hunting, fishing, he would jump off the couch and get all wild and animated. Passionate dude. And that passion, it definitely permeated into me growing up around him. But 2019, I got to this wake up and my wife said, your mom just texted me and said, George did. And I said, I don't know what that means. George did in the middle of the night. So I called her. I called my mom. and I'm half asleep. You know how when you first wake up, you don't have any sense of reality. You're still in theta or whatever they call it in your mind. My mom was hysterical, and she was going crazy, and I couldn't even understand what she was saying. And I said, hey, take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Come on, calm down. What's going on? And she said, George died. So it wasn't George did. She just didn't type it right, typo. And I said, what? She said, yeah. And then she told me the story. He went hunting that day, and it was snowing out. And when he came out of the woods and he got into his truck, he had a heart attack in the parking lot in his truck. And it was still in drive. When they found him, it was still in drive. He was at the entrance. And the house across the street saw the car was sitting there for a while and went in to explore, and they found out. Now, we didn't know where he was. My brother was looking out. He drove out on the icy roads looking for him. And eventually they called the cops, they called the hospitals, and they found out that he was brought in and he didn't survive. Now, that obviously, anytime you experience loss and you got to mourn and grief, but the energy and passion in George's spirit came into me within a week or two. I felt this feeling one day. And my brother explained that he experienced the same thing. I got this energy came into me. And I was like, oh man, it's on now. And see, I was running a mortgage business at the time for 20 some years, and I was making a lot of money, and I just wasn't happy though. I hated it. Hated doing what I was doing. But I didn't have the courage to confront that. There was a fear inside of me that I couldn't make this kind of money doing something that I really truly loved. So I was hesitant to confront it. And the longer that you don't confront something, the more pressure builds. You're always going to be forced to confront issues in your life that you need to confront. If you don't voluntarily do it earlier, it gets worse. I wasn't confronting this thing. So the energy and passion that came into me, I just had this thing like, I got to get known globally, man. Life is too short.
That's awesome.
Life is too short. I realized this. And I only have this one life in this body.
Yeah,
I need to figure out something right now, and it's on. And so at that moment,
you're doing great things, man. You're doing great things.
Yeah, at that moment, I decided. I said, I got to get known globally. People need me. I have an obligation. There's so many people struggling out there in the world.
Yeah,
I got to be a living demonstration because I've been given by God some amazing blessings. And I got to use these talents and abilities, and there's no excuse not to. And so that's an example of the rocket fuel.
Definitely. It's a disservice we'll do to others if we don't share. And what you're doing is you're definitely empowering and amplifying others. And the more you do that for others, the more, the individual's life improves as well. It's just the way it works. Givers gain. We're in business, a lot of strategies, a lot of things that we could do, but this energy that you're talking about, this fuel that we have is what will either you'll win eventually or you will give up. It just depends on that energy. And when you held that energy and you got that from your dad, I'm sorry to hear about your loss. It must be a tough one, but you actually brought something that you're extending his passion into this experience of life, and he's living on in a way through you.
100%. It wasn't a loss really, because I can still talk to him. I mean, him and I have conversations, and when I feel like I don't feel like doing something or I want to complain about something, I remember the lessons he taught me. And then he lives on. And it's a gain, man. It's definitely a gain,
man. It's great. It's definitely a gain, 100%. So everyone talks about mindset, obviously, nowadays, and you operate with this concept of dominant thoughts. Can you explain what this really means to our audience and how they can start incorporating this concept in their life?
Yeah. If you think about this for a second, we have to take responsibility for the energy that's in our orb that we walk around in. There's a certain distance that your energy resonates out to. And if you understand that, when you walk into a room, you can actually change the energy of the room. You can impact people. Vibes matter and emotions are contagious.
100%.
Right? Emotion, energy, they transpose into energy. And so when your thoughts come into your mind, you have a decision to keep going with that thought or change and replace that thought, because it's going to affect the energy field. And when you start studying quantum physics and quantum resonance and understanding this concept, and by the way, I used to run from the word quantum. I used to run from the word nuclear physics.
Me too.
Because I found, because I found I didn't
mindfulness too.
Yeah, I didn't understand it. The reason that people run from things is because they don't know something. They don't understand something. And then when you start to really look up words that you don't understand and clear the word's definition and really get a good handle on it, you'll study any subject whatsoever. So I started leaning into quantum physics and quantum resonance, and I'm not afraid to look into that stuff now because I know what I'm talking about. If I don't know what I'm talking about, I'll look the word up, get a good understanding of it. And once I started doing that, I started to realize that, wait a minute, I am responsible for the energy that I'm bringing into any environment. And I do not want to be the one to bring the environment down. Like when
Agree.
When I go to the gym, for example, there's people at the gym working out on their own. They're doing their thing. But I told my kids the other day, when we come into the gym, it's not just about us. We have a responsibility to bring that gym up or bring that gym down. People are watching you at all times. You might think you're doing your workout and nobody's paying attention, but trust me, they're paying attention. And here's what they're trying to figure out. I don't really feel like working out today. Should I go hard? Or should I just take it easy today? And then let's say they fall into that category. I'm going to take it easy today. They're looking for reasons to validate that desire that they have. And so they'll look around the room or the gym and they'll see the people that they want to latch onto to validate that average thinking. And if you're that person that they look at and you let them validate that feeling of taking it easy that day, you're responsible for their workout and you're responsible for that human being, whether you like it or not. And so I told my kids, you got to go, when you go to the gym, you have to set an intention before you walk in the door that you're going to crush it that day and you're going to go after it because people are watching. You could also be the person that invalidates that feeling and makes them decide and inspires them to go harder and do something extra today. So I said that to my kids one day. We're at the gym. The next day, we're in there. My son gets on this treadmill. It doesn't have a motor. It's one of the ones where you control it, and it's very difficult. You can sled push. You can run on it, jog on it, walk on it, but it's like creates resistance. And my son's going hard on it. And I said, wow, that's a great job, bud. This guy comes up to him and says, hey man, I just finished lifting. I wasn't going to run today, but I just saw you doing your thing there and I got to get my run in today. And that happened the day after I just told the kids this lesson. So I pretend, Shahid, that everybody is always watching me because I am got to be a living demonstration because vibes matter and emotions are contagious and 100%. People will look at you to validate whether they want to be average or they want to go to the next level.
Yeah, it's so true. And that concept that you're explaining is in every realm, not just, for example, in the gym, even in our family, like you mentioned, the kids, our wife, the cousins, all the family. It stands out when you enter, when you go for visiting or if you're hanging out, your energy amplifies or decreases what's happening in that environment. And you'll see if someone comes in and they're in a bad mood, you just pick it up right away because we're vibrational readers. That's what we naturally pick up. When we elevate our internal world, we start vibing different, regardless of the outside. It's just a different vibe. The enthusiasm increases for life and what we do. And that energy is super contagious, and having a platform like a podcast to do it is so important. So if anybody out there is, has that capability to affect people in a positive way, definitely get your voice out there. Don't hold it back. Start a podcast, do videos, do whatever you can. Get out there because people need it. They need your voice. They need your energy.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Can you share 2-3 practical steps that entrepreneurs can take today? Start immediately to start focusing more on building people and not just profits?
Yeah. Here's the thing. You can do anything you want in life, but you can't do everything. So you need people. People have everything we need.
Exactly.
If you're not going to be focused on making people better around you, you're just going to be limited to the degree that you do that. So I'm always thinking about how can I build the people around me? And that could be just being an example. That could be paying attention and being a good listener to see what people need, being a servant. Like the whole org chart in companies is built wrong. The CEO shouldn't be at the top. It should be at the bottom because they should be serving. They should be down serving. And then the company should go up this way with the people that are just getting started, and all the lower level people that they say lower level, they should be the highest level because you only rise as a company to your best attitude people, your best mindset people, the best skilled people. Not the best, the lowest level in your company. So if you have somebody in your company that's got a bad attitude, the whole company's going to suffer. So for me, I think the main thing for any entrepreneur out there is to be really clear on what you're looking to do. Because without clarity, you have chaos and confusion, and it's impossible to be successful with chaos and confusion present. So I'm always talking about how can I get the distractions eliminated and be able to focus my attention, which is a limited resource. Attention, we only have so many attention units that we can spend. And there's trillions of things even right here for us right now that we could be paying attention to. So what am I going to do? Where am I going to spend my attention units? right? And how can I make sure that they're on the right thing? I have to have clarity. I need to know exactly what I want to do, make a decision that's what I want to do, and that sets an intention. Most people are going around life, they have no clear vision or clear intention, so their attention doesn't have any direction. And the attention then gets directed by outside sources like the media, like social media, like the people in your environment, your spouse, your kids, friends, whoever. Okay. And when that happens, you start to pay attention to the wrong things. Then you start living a life where you're not advancing, you're miserable, you're resentful, and you wonder why. It all starts with clarity, setting an intention on what you want. That intention gives your attention direction, and then you start to cause and create based on your intention. Because when you start paying attention to the things, because it's directed by the intention, you start to validate your intention by paying attention to the right things, the people in your life, the opportunities, the strategies, different things. So it all starts with clarity.
Yeah, clarity is super important. Now, if you could imagine, say, for example, you imagine that you, God forbid, lost everything and you had to start over again, but you get to keep 3 mindsets or habits you have now. What would they be and why?
Well, here's the thing. I've thought about this many times if I had to start over, right? I came into we all did. We all came into this world butt naked, not knowing how to talk, not knowing who was who, and no relationships, no network except for our mother.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we made it this far. So then I think about, okay, if I had to start over again and I had to go back to being butt naked, don't visualize that, folks. But if I had to go back to being butt naked, but now I have the ability to communicate, I have the network, I have the wisdom and experience. I'm built because I went through things differently. Imagine how far I can make it now. So for me, starting over, I'm not starting over. It's impossible to start over because unless you lose your memory, you're not starting over.
But what would be the 3 mindsets that you would keep or have? What are your go-to from what you have now in your life?
Yeah, clarity, understanding, like knowing what I want.
Clarity.
Knowing what I want because I need to set my intention so that I can direct my attention, cause and create. Number 2 is enjoy all parts of life. Enjoy all parts of life. The parts that don't go the way you expect them to is where you're being built.
Yeah.
So that's important.
100%.
And then the third thing I would say is, look, I'm not in control of my life to the degree that I'd like and expect to be. We all have things that we want to go our way, but I'm a believer in God, and I believe God has a way, and I like to surrender. And I found a lot of value in surrendering to God's. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't get a clear vision of what I want to do. Okay, because we've been given dominion and freedom, free will to have a desire, but I believe the desires that we have, and when we get clear, it comes from God. But we don't listen to it a lot of times or pay attention to it or create space or remove the blockages to receive the message. I believe our intuition, our desires, when we're focused on God, come from God, and then we're clear on that, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, it's so good what you just said, because how much control do we really have? It's great to have the targets. We need all of those things, and we keep improving and getting better and creating because we have hands and feet. We're built that way to create. But at the end of the day, where we get to be turning and guided towards when we have that calmer mind, that direction could shift. It could be even 100x bigger than we could ever imagine, but is going in the direction of where our energy and what we're feeling and what we think this experience is, what our perception of it is. That energy helps with that direction, but we don't know what's going to eventually happen. Well, all we can care and what we can work about, what we can actually fuse into is the present moment, what we do in it. And it's beautiful what you said. It was really important for people to hear that from you as well. And I'm grateful to have this opportunity to have you on the show, to share this, to amplify that message you're sharing.
Yeah, my pleasure, man. Thank you. Yeah, and what you just talked about, attraction, right? So you can be in a chase mode or you can be in attraction mode. Yeah. Most people are living in a chase mode. They're chasing the next thing. They're chasing whatever. They're trying to make it through the next month. Chase relationships. But everything changed for me when I started saying, listen, I want to create an attraction model. I want to create an attraction opportunity for people to come to me. I want to attract opportunities to me. And how do you do that? Well, number one, you got to get really clear on who you are. and what you want to do. And then you also, the number three thing you need to do, the second thing you need to do is get known. If you're not getting known and nobody knows you, you could have the best product, the best service, have the best intentions in the world, but nobody knows who you are. How can you help them? So this goes to creating a communication line, some way to get your message out there, who you are, what you stand for, what you do. And for me, I wake up every morning, no matter what level I get to, and pretend nobody's ever heard of me. Because I don't want to sit back. I don't want to get complacent. I need to make sure I'm reaching out, always getting out there, pushing content out there, going to events, meeting people, doing calls every day. I do 5 to 8 15-minute calls with total strangers every single day. How do I do that? I reach out on Instagram or reach out to people in my network that are friends with other people, and I DM them. I'll send them text, whatever I have access to communicate with them. And I say, hey, we got to connect sometime. I love what you're doing, and I'd love to explore synergy with you. Let's hop on a 15-minute call and explore synergy. And then I get on 15-minute calls with what I call perfect strangers. And we share what we're working on right now that's got us excited. We share what our vision is. We share what our challenges are. And then we find synergy, whether it's podcast together, whether it's collab on something, whether I connect them or they connect me to somebody. Maybe it's just encouragement. Maybe it's just a friend that we just let it go organic and see what happens. But at the end of the day, I'm all about getting known and building network and serving. And it just, it starts to compound and a snowball effect starts to take place. And before you know it, you look back 6 months and you're like, wow, look what I've achieved. Look at all the people that trust
momentum. It's momentum. And I relate to what you're saying so much because I'm done with chasing. I spent my entire life chasing, and it was just really bad on my health. It was bad on my mentality. It was just, the energy was all wrong. And since my focus shifted inwards, it's all about adding value. And this platform as a podcast, Super Entrepreneurs Podcast, is to just add value through. And it's the focus of how much I could do for others. How am I impacting people's lives and the guests that come on the show? And we had a very interesting guest before on the show. And I think I mentioned on your show too, that David Dreblin, he said similar to that. He just focuses on his garden. He doesn't chase butterflies anymore. That's really what it is. You just water your seeds. You're taking care of what you are, what you're doing as the human being you are, and you're adding that value. That's your focus. And then not worrying about what is going to happen, not having that stress, doubt, and worry, having complete faith instead of that, operating from that energy. You bring people into your life, and that this attraction stuff, it's so freaking real. And I had a lot of trouble with this, man. Like I had this ideology growing up that everything has to be hard, but life doesn't have to be hard when you operate at a specific energy, because you will see people and the universe starts wanting to help you get what you want. Like you'll see people showing up just wanting to help you grow. Like we're meeting together because there's an alignment of that energy.
Yeah. 100%.
I love this stuff.
Yeah. And by the way, when you start doing things the right way, I say the right way, which is the way to create an attraction model. Things will start to appear. People will start to appear that have always been there, but you don't understand where they came from. You'll start seeing money come in that you can't even comprehend. Where did this come from? Like, how did this happen?
So true, man.
And it starts with understanding, changing your subconscious mind into that you are very worthy, and you're going to handle things the right way. The money comes, you're going to be a great steward of the money. Yeah. And money's got to flow. So the other thing is people start, this is a common myth that you got to get before you give. The giving comes first.
Yes.
Whether it's tithing, whether it's committing to a certain amount of money to a charity, whether it's you're giving your time, you're giving your strategy, your expertise, giving comes first. And then 100%. All the other stuff comes, because it's just like it's like a currency. It's like a flow. And a lot of times people block the flow of receiving because they're not giving first. And so for me, I'm always looking for opportunities. Like, who can I serve today? Where can I give?
Yeah.
I wake up in the morning.
Love it.
Wake up in the morning some days, and I just go right onto the church website and not donate, but tithe. And then every time I do that, like, more money keeps flowing to me.
Yeah. It's so true. Mike, man, it was great having you on the show, brother. It was just phenomenal sharing this space with you and your presence and what you're doing for others. The only thing I really have for you is I wish you all the best. I wish you all the growth, and see how we can collaborate further.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me, Shahid. It's been
My
a fun time here, man. And if anybody wants to check me out, I'm on Instagram at Mikey C-Roc. Check me out there and DM me.
Perfect.